everyone. This is Sarah and Paul Jarzembowski, and we thought we'd come to you with a little conversation about hope from the ashes. Paul's recent book on the phenomenon of Ash Wednesday, when we see so many people in our pews that we might not have seen previously in the year. So let's get started. Like, what is that phenomenon all about?
Well, your experience on Ash Wednesday, when you see a lot of people who are coming to church, what you see anecdotally is backed up by studies that have shown that the numbers of people who come on Ash Wednesday double from a normal any given Sunday. So, whereas normally it's 20 to 25% of self-identified Catholics who come on a weekly basis, it goes up to 40 to 50 or more percent on Ash Wednesday. So it's a phenomenon, and it's been going on for centuries. We've seen it perhaps most recently, and it's become more noticeable recently, just because of the strong amount of disaffiliation that there has been in the church. So it's much more noticeable these days that many people who don't otherwise practice the faith on a weekly basis do find a home on Ash Wednesday.
And I can't believe Ash Wednesday is coming up so quick. It kind of took me by surprise that just next week we're starting to celebrate Lent. I feel like we just took down our Christmas decorations. Actually, I think we did just take down our Christmas decorations, and we're still finding little things here and there in our house. But here it is. It pops up real quick, and it's only been 7 weeks, maybe not even a full 2 months since Christmas, and here we are preparing for people to be in our pews. So what are some things that we can do maybe this last minute, or maybe we've got a little bit of time to prepare, but what are some things for us to think about when it comes to Ash Wednesday and all of these new people coming in, or all of these people that we haven't seen in a while?
Yeah, I think the first thing we need to do is somewhat check ourselves.
Oh.
Really, I think that's perhaps the simplest thing we can do is really to just be mindful of our assumptions and presumptions about why people come. Everyone who comes into church on Ash Wednesday comes for a particular reason, their own story, whatever that path that has led them there. And so I think that's the first thing we need to do, is just kind of be mindful of what we say, what we think, what we even look like. People will very much notice the smile or the lack of smile on our faces. Sometimes even a flippant word or a joke that we might make. Oh, look at the number of new people who are here. And we might say it in kind of a half-hearted way, and people can hear that. So I think part of it is checking ourselves, and that's a very important thing we can do. Now, if you want to talk about what people can do on a more programmatic level, if they have that experience, it would be as people come into church, making sure that there are those who are welcoming them at the door, and not just with an extended handshake, but actually walking them from the door to their seat, and in a very casual way, but have it walking a few steps, even if they want to sit in the back row of church, to walk a few steps with them, just to say a few words and to make sure that they know that they're welcome. And also programmatically, after that Ash Wednesday service or Mass, perhaps to have something at the church afterwards, maybe a soup and bread and a conversation night at the church, maybe for a few extra moments, maybe 10, 15, maybe a half hour, after the Mass. Would be a great way for there to be a sense of community that's built. So there's both some things personally, but also collectively as a church that we can do.
So what do you think are some of the reasons people do come in for ashes? I mean, they're ashes. What do you think it is about that symbolization, that ritual, that tradition that draws people to our churches, that really goes beyond the reasons that they don't throughout the year? It really pulls them past any of those things that stop them at other times. What do you think that is?
Well, Lent is a time where it's almost like a New Year's resolution, part 2, and people feel that they have a second chance. They know their brokenness, they know their sinfulness, but that gives them an opportunity to start again with God's mercy. there is a sense that one of the things I hear a lot is that Lent often reminds people of their family. It reminds them of their mom or their dad, their grandparents, that part of their identity growing up, their Catholic or Christian identity growing up, is kind of resurfaces in Lent. And so a number of people say that they go in honor of their family. So there's that aspect of it too, that tradition that kind of draws back. It's also it's an accessible spirituality. The theology and the understandings that we kind of pass on in Lent are ones that people resonate with. I mean, we've had this tradition for centuries, but yet with a more modern take on it, especially young people today enjoy a challenge. You've heard of dry January or meatless Mondays. Well, a 40-day fast for Lent is something akin to that. So there is this notion of trying something new and to be better, to be their best self in Lent. And of course, as that draws them in. There's actually, to be honest with you, there's as many reasons for people who reconnect during Lent or come on Ash Wednesday as there are people who come during Lent and on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier some of those statistics. That Friday fasting is, what did you say, up to 60 some percent?
Yeah, I would say that, where, like, for instance, on on a given Sunday, I said about anywhere between 15 to 25% will come to church. About 40 to 50 on Ash Wednesday. About 60 to 65 will come. Will engage in some sort of Lenten fast on Fridays. So it's very special for a lot of people.
Wow. And so, there's a lot of reasons people come back. We've got to check ourselves. I'm so glad you called us out on that. I really am, because I really think that it's important for us to pay attention to our side comments, our posture when we are in church on Ash Wednesday and throughout Lent, because people are very vulnerable. And I think that they're vulnerable and they're stepping in because, this ash is a sign of everybody in this space is not perfect. Even though this family over here looks perfect, or, this other person's dressed to the nines and looks so classy, we're all not perfect. And this symbol on our forehead, these ashes, are an outward sign of that imperfection. And I think that's really bonding. And
it creates community. I mean, there's a community that, you could be out and about on Ash Wednesday and you see somebody else in a store or in a restaurant or somewhere else, even in your workplace or your school, and you see that ash, and even if you don't know who they are, even if you don't know where they worship, you don't know their story, there is a sense of belonging and community that happens. You in a way, maybe you even look them in the eye and you both of you've been part of something today. And I think people long to be part of that. And I think we have to be careful, you're right, as to how we react. The verse before the gospel on Ash Wednesday is, if today you hear his voice, harden not your heart. And so how often do we harden our hearts on Ash Wednesday? We kind of assume and presume a lot about others. We react sometimes in ways that, our hearts are hardened. And so to let God challenge us to be open to that and to be, in a way, excited about what's coming that today. In a way, God's going to put people in our path on Ash Wednesday and throughout the season of Lent that we wouldn't have otherwise met, that we wouldn't have otherwise encountered. So in a way, it's a very joyous opportunity. I know Ash Wednesday doesn't necessarily always, you don't think of it as a joyful feast, but think about the people that God is about to place in your path, things that we have been praying for, I wish our churches were more filled. And on Ash Wednesday, they are. Yes.
Thank you for that reminder and that really pointed statement about these are the people we've been praying for. Right. And so let's remember that they are broken as we are broken. Right. And we are coming together to belong to Christ together. We belong to this beautiful, beautiful community of Christ. And this is where we can begin that journey with folks. So I just think that checking ourselves and paying attention to our language and our body language and what we say, even if it's a whisper to the person next to us, I think that that's so key. I think that that's such an important reminder, and just reminding people and letting them know that we're so glad that they're here. I mean, it takes a lot of mental power and energy for some people who are so broken and feeling the effects of extreme loneliness to even get into their car. And if they make it to the parking lot, they can still talk themselves out of getting out of that car because nobody's seen them yet. Right. And the fact that they walk into your church takes a lot of energy and a lot of willpower and strength. And so what a blessing it is that they have powered through any of those negative things, thoughts, feelings, and emotions to walk into your church. And let's just continue to pray, and that we are the hands of Christ during those times to be able to welcome them in with open and loving arms, and just be God for them in that moment. What a powerful moment it can be for us and for them.
Yeah.
So there any final thoughts that you have that you want to make sure that people know just going in? I mean, it's right around the corner. Any final thoughts about that?
Well, it's never too early and it's never too late to do something. So if you're listening or watching this before Ash Wednesday, don't worry, it's not too late. You can do something. You can do these little small things. And if you've listened to it after Ash Wednesday's passed, even after Lent has passed, it's not too early to start thinking about the next Lent. It comes around again. Lent is a time of self-reflection, and it is sometimes a time where we sometimes enter into Lent on our own. Even those of us who are active in our faith enter into Lent as it's a season of self-reflection. But let it not be a season of self-absorption. And let's remember, as Sarah was saying, that there are many others who are walking this path with us, and that we're not alone as active churchgoers, but also to let them know that they're not alone in their uncertainty about what to do. And so we build a sense of community in Lent, and let's lean into that. And I think that when we do that, I think great things can happen. Oh,
thank you so much for bringing up that point of self-reflection. Well, that is important in Lent and part of the Lenten practice, because we are broken, and it's about writing our relationship with God, and writing our relationship with our community. We have to know ourselves in order to step outside of ourselves. So it's a both and I think a lot of times we get caught up into the internal. And thank you for reminding us to take a look.
Just look around. Just look around, because on Ash Wednesday,
there's a lot.
You got to look around, and you'll see a lot of pieces. What a lot of great people you're going to meet that day.
Yeah. So, I was just sitting here thinking, what's the one thing that I can do this Ash Wednesday to make it a little easier for guests and visitors? I think I'm going to park in the back of the parking lot.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to park all the way back so that somebody new can sit in my parking spot, which is usually pretty close. I get there early in the day, so it's usually pretty close. So I think I'm going to park in the back, and allow a guest to park there and make it just a few steps shorter for them to get into the church this year.
That'd be great.
That would be
make it whatever. Do something.
I think I'm going to do that, as well as smile and welcome people in. Well, here you go, folks. Hope from the Ashes. You can get this on pauluspress.com or on Amazon. It's a real easy, fun read. There are great ideas in there and some really great things to think about as you prepare either for this Lent or next, or another welcoming Sunday, another time to welcome new folks in. Thank you for joining us for this conversation on Hope from the Ashes, and we'll catch you the next time, hopefully real soon. Take care, everyone.